Hello, welcome to the 14th day of August 2025. My name is Kurt Bell and this is my daily Good Life meditation. This is a live video exercise that I do every day around 5:30 a.m. I do this to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with any particular challenges or opportunities that I met. I reflect on my creed, and I prepare for the coming day. But first, hello to the many new subscribers to the channel. The Unpacking Japan interview dropped yesterday, a podcast that is done here in Japan, interviewing content creators and other interesting people that are living and performing their lives here in Japan or related to Japan in some way. And the interview that I did in the mid-spring aired yesterday, and a lot of new subscribers came to the channel, so welcome. So I'm going to spend a moment to spend a little time doing an introduction and explanation about what I do and the videos that you might see on this channel, so you have a heads up. First of all, greetings, hajime mashite. My name is Kurt Bell. I'm a 61-year-old retired American from California. Particularly from Huntington Beach, California. I live here in Shizuoka City, Japan with my 61-year-old Japanese wife. Her name is Yumiko. Our 24-year-old, going on 25-year-old daughter, Emily, is living up in Tokyo. She comes down and visits us about once a month. It's about a 1.5-hour bullet train ride down, and we're always grateful to have her come and visit. Yumiko and I and Emily all moved back to Japan in 2024. Emily and Yumiko first in May, and then I followed in December, wrapping up our lives, schooling, and careers in the United States. This was the fifth and final transition for my wife and I would say that would have been the fourth time for Emily, marking in the almost 4 decades that Yumiko and I have been together, wholesale transitions back and forth between the United States and America. If you saw the podcast, you know some of the details. This is the last time. We don't have it, Yumiko and I don't have it in us anymore. It'll be interesting to see if Emily chooses to follow our example and split her adult life between countries. We'll see what happens. But for Yumiko and I, this is it. This rather halcyon setting in which I find myself now, living in this old house with a bamboo forest in the backyard and a garden, and can you hear the gurgle of the river? Is my final setting. This is the last home. It doesn't mean that we won't travel or live other places. We might, but this is home. For better or worse, richer or poor, for whatever challenges may remain. And it's a good place. We settled in a good place at last. That's kind of it for me by way of introduction. As for the videos that I do on this channel, remember I'm rehashing now for all you new subscribers who don't know who I am. I can pretty reliably be counted on to upload, at least in this season of life, 2 videos a day. The first is this video, which is a daily live broadcast it's a journal entry, basically. This is me writing Dear Diary, where you get to listen and comment if you want. I can pretty much be depended upon to do this every day. I have been doing this every day since December 2018. So what is that, 7 years of daily uploads. You can easily distinguish these videos in your feed by virtue of the fact that it'll have my mug, usually in this frame, and the title of the video will be The Good Life, and then usually a day and a date. These videos last about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, and I cover a routine, basically. It's very routine. I say hello, offer a disclaimer, and then I go over the last 24 hours, review my creed, and then prepare for the coming day. The other video that, at least presently, can be relied upon pretty much daily is an installation of the Retiring in Japan series, which I started on this channel in support of the book that I wrote of the same name. Retiring in Japan was my effort to capture the experience of completing our adult careers and lives and parenthood in the United States and moving to Japan to continue life here. I knew that that was a big once-in-a-lifetime event, and I figured there might be others interested in doing the same thing, so I took the time to take notes and prepared a book, and that book is called Retiring in Japan, and it's available on Amazon. You can get it if you want. You don't need to, but if you want all the details, you can just ask me questions. I'll be happy to answer what I can remember, although my memory is fading fast now, so I'm glad I wrote the book because it captured the details that I'm already beginning to forget. Also, the book will be here after I am gone. So this series, this other daily upload, Retiring in Japan, is my journal entry. Now, I started it initially to literally capture the experience of retiring in Japan. That's why I named it retiring. It's an active verb. I got about 4 months into that process and I realized that I had finished. I had retired in Japan. I was now retired in Japan, no longer retiring in Japan, but retired in Japan. And I stopped the series. I restarted it when people asked me to, and I realized that there's still a story to tell. That story is the day-to-day experience of being retired in Japan. So I didn't change the title, it's still Retiring in Japan, but I changed the season. It's now on season 3. I called this, my wife gave me the suggestion, every day. My wife is Yumiko, we like to go to a coffee shop down the road at least once a week called Kinohi. Means your everyday coffee place. And so these daily Retiring in Japan are literally me starting through the day, lifting my camera, taking snapshots, video snippets throughout the day, and editing them all together and uploading them come what may. So that I can be relied upon. I've also was known in my old softypapa 1.0 years. Softypapa is the handle I go by. I'm now in softypapa 2.0. I was also known in softypapa 1.0 years to do some wilderness adventuring, some walking exploration of Japan, and some Akiya stuff. You know, I called it Abandoned Japan back then. And I don't really do that now, but I might. We'll see. It's in my back pocket. Okay, well, I think that's enough of an introduction. Oh, I do now am going to begin properly what I usually do. So I'll switch back to my normal routine, back to your regular scheduled programming here. What I usually do is after I start the camera, when I do these daily videos, these live videos, I then offer a thank you to my subscribers. First I say thank you to new subscribers. Thank you, welcome to the channel. I then offer a disclaimer. The disclaimer is this. This is my journal video. What you're watching live right now. There's no apologies here. This is literally like you peeking, and you're welcome to do so. I'm giving you an opportunity to look over my shoulder while I pen Dear Diary. I can write anything I want. I can say anything I want, and I will. And some of the things are proven to make people uncomfortable. For example, I talk every day about death, about my own plans for death, and that makes people very uncomfortable. I get cards and letters frequently from people saying, I wish you'd quit talking about your own damn death. But I will, and I will do it today. The other thing I talk sometimes, not as often, is my atheism. I am no longer a religious person. I haven't been since I was 16. And that factors big in my life. It's not like I'm evangelizing, disbelief in God or lack of belief in God. It's just that since my worldview does not include any supernatural element to it, at least that I'm aware of, I haven't been able to flush out any that factors into my way of thinking. It factors into my philosophy and creed. It factors into my ideas about what constitutes a well-lived life. It factors into my values. So I bring it up from time to time, not by way of proselytizing atheism, but more by way of elucidating and illustrating and supporting maybe the grounding of the secular creed and framework that I've developed to sustain and propel my life forward in the absence of belief in God. So, I don't talk about that very often. That comes up every 2 or 3 weeks, but just in passing, just be warned. That always earns me some additional comments or emails from people. more concerned about my everlasting soul, or about the framework in which I hold such disbelief or lack of belief, or no belief. Finally, this is part of the disclaimer part. The wrapping up the disclaimer. The disclaimer. There's three segments to this daily upload. I call it the disclaimer part up front, the review of the last 24 hours. I guess there's four parts: the review of my creed, and then the preparation for the coming day. The last piece of the first part is to say a deep felt thank you to those of you who watch my videos, to my members on YouTube, and my supporters on Patreon. Your support, membership, and participation in my channel literally fuel me financially in the things that I do outside of the things I do on my own. Because here's the bottom line. All my retirement income goes to my wife. I don't get anything of that. So the only money that I have to do anything here in Japan on my own comes from YouTube and the sale of my books, and now the little business that I run on the side. So by virtue of the fact that people watch my videos, I get to take my wife out for coffee, even though when she takes me out for coffee, she's paying for it with my pension. But it feels different, right? I can say, stand aside, wife, I'm buying coffee. It's a different feel, right? So thank you for that. I appreciate that. You make me feel like a man sometimes. Okay, with that out of the way, let's begin with the review of the last 24 hours. Now, I keep careful notes, not too detailed, but I keep a notebook with me every day, and I take notes throughout the day, 1 page a day, about everything that's going on. I take my days really seriously. One of the objectives of my creed, objective number 2, is to make good and effective use of my time, to not waste my days. I can't spare to waste a single day, especially now at 61. The days are so few. The autumn is so near. Winter is on the horizon. Can't waste any time. So I always at this point look at the heading here is last 24 hours. And then I have whatever notes fall into the last 24 hours. And it's rare that I get more than one note anymore. That's because my life has entered kind of a routine. And, well, what am I looking for? I didn't tell you that, huh? It's okay. These notes that I have, I don't care about what I had for lunch. I'm not interested in sharing my schedule necessarily. The only thing that I want to write down are little notes related to the exceptional moments that happened in the last 24 hours, where exceptional is defined as two things, one of two things. Either I had an incident in the course of the day where I performed exceptionally well or exceptionally poorly. Those two ends of the bell-shaped curve. Most of the day is right there in the middle. It's like I'm just tuning along, just humming along. If you watch my my retiring in Japan videos, you'll see that I'm just kind of humming along all day, especially now that I'm working again. I don't care about that stuff. That's good. I care about it. That's what the whole endeavor of all of this was about. The whole endeavor of writing and living, going alone, and the principles therein was to get to the point where the bulk of my day is on autopilot relative to my values. So if that's the case, then I've delivered the goal. I've delivered the output, and I've delivered on the effort and the promise of this endeavor. But it's where I fall outside the lines, where I perform poorly or very well, that I'm curious about. Because if I've performed poorly, then I would like to examine that and say, well, what is it about that? Why did I perform poorly, and how could I improve if that same circumstance and setting and incident occurs again today or tomorrow or the next day? Likewise, if I performed exceptionally well in a trying and difficult situation, well, what is it about that? What characteristics or values was I bringing to bear? What frame of mind, what carriage of body and constitution was I bringing to bear at that moment that allowed me to perform so well? Because I want more of that, right? If I examine the two ends of the spectrum, not spectrum, but the two ends of the bell-shaped curve, each day, then it begins to widen. every day, a little wider. And then there's more time in the day in between living well and less time on the edges, right? So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'll look at my notes and I'll read the note. Sometimes I don't remember why I wrote what I wrote. Trying some, like yesterday, I couldn't remember what I wrote, why I wrote what I wrote. And I have to kind of think it through, and sometimes thinking it through reveals something. It's kind of good that I write so sloppily. Sometimes it gives me time to expand. But let's look at the note from yesterday. And it's one of those typical, you know, cryptic notes. It says, a good drudge. So I lumped the whole day, clearly, as a good drudge. Now, drudge, of course, simply means that, you know, I was slogging away. It was a Wednesday, hump day. Okay, makes sense. By the way, did I tell you that I'm working again? I'm retired. Yeah, but that didn't go so well. I mean, I don't know how to be retired. Clearly, it's been 7, going on 8 months now, and I'm struggling with freedom. Yeah, get a hobby. I know. The hobby's not enough. Something more. And guess what I wound up doing again? Again, I wound up working. You know, big surprise, right? 60. That's all I know how to do, really. So I started my business. I'm an antique dealer. So it was a good drudge because ever since I latched onto this for like 4 or 5 months, I kind of I was lost in this retirement, you know, free for all, you know, get up every morning, do whatever the hell I want, you know. It's not as easy as it seems. I'm not that kind of guy. And then I latched on to about a month ago, I latched on to work. I said, well, I'm going to work again. I'm going to start my business again. And that was catalyzed by a very urgent need, right? I mean, I realized that if I didn't earn some money between now and summer next year, that I'd have to dip into our retirement savings a little more to fund, because we basically burned up all of our money to move to Japan. Basically, the budget that we had set, to move to Japan, we burned it all up, buying this house, doing all the renovations, buying all the furniture that we did, the appliances, moving in, you know. And so if I want to do anything exceptional between now and then, when I do have some exceptional stuff I need to do, then I need to make some money. Otherwise, I have to go pull money out of retirement, and I don't want to do that. So, you know, the retirement fund should stay safe at this point. Just be used in the prescribed manner. So I said, well, I'll work again. I know, I'll start my antique business again, because then I can make some money, and I can have some fun. Banging, working great. I mean, it was everything the doctor ordered. I love it. I mean, I love it so much. It's kind of sad that, you know, why couldn't I have taken up mountain biking, right? Why can't I enjoy sitting here on my balcony and reading books that much? I can't. And I think it's because work is all I know how to do. Now, here's the clincher, okay? It's like working in retirement. Excuse the slurping. I know that comes through on the mic. Working in retirement, it's something that you like, is exactly like having dessert without the calories. A good dessert, you know, apple pie, cherry pie with a big scoop of ice cream, when there's no calories involved. The calories are the stress. I hated my job. I've always been very open about that. My whole career, my whole friggin', it's pretty rare to hear me cuss, and I'm not going to do it now, but I hated my career for 40 friggin' years. A miserable life that was. But it was a very good career. I made a lot of money when I was working. Every time I tried to escape my career, do something else, I went broke. And then I went back to my career and I made a lot of money again. And then I escaped my career and went broke, and then went back to it. And I hated it the whole time. But it was, I mean, I know now what I hated was the stress. I hated the futility. I got to watch out for it. There's these giant hornets, the Japanese giant hornets. There's a bamboo forest behind my house, and there's giant hornets out there, and they're just starting to get active. And every morning or every day throughout the day, they'll come and hang around me. They'll come and buzz past my head here, and they'll come in the room right there. I keep this Cultivate Senko burning all day long, and it works. It kind of keeps the mosquitoes away, but they still come. And just since I've been sitting here talking to you, two have flown past. I've seen two go by. Anyway, work now is like great because I don't have any stress. I mean, I don't have to make any money. I don't have a boss to answer to. I don't have coworkers to deal with. I've got customers that are easy to satisfy. I used to be an antique dealer before. I know what makes them happy. I mean, it's like all the fun and none of the stress. I mean, it's a win-win in every possible way. So I'm having a great time at it. So that's the state of the landscape of when I refer to work. It's this thing that I started doing to address the depression that was creeping in. Yeah, it was. I was starting to feel depressed again. Yeah, I did the same thing in 2003. I came back to Japan. Back then I was rich. If you saw the podcast, you know all the details. I had lots of money, and I thought, I'm going to take a year off and just do whatever the hell. Oh, that was a bad idea. Anyway, I know, I've seen this movie before. I know that I'm not someone that does well with freedom. Absolute abject freedom, that's what it is. I'm not one who deals with it. So I got ahead of it. Instead of going down the road of depression this time, I said, oh, I'm going to get ahead of this and start. And I did the same thing before. I started the business, but then I went broke, like I said. But I started the business now, and it's doing really well. I don't have to I'm not making all the mistakes again, because I've done this business before. So back to my note. It says here, a good drudge. A good drudge. What does that mean? Well, previously in my old life, when I had a Wednesday that was a drudge, it would be awful, because that meant I had to have horrible meetings and had to deal with the mandate of a boss that I thought was unreasonable. And by the way, if my last boss sees this, I'm not talking about you. In fact, if my last boss sees this, you know who I'm talking about. I'm glad. I'm sorry that if you're still dealing with that. Anyway, a good drudge because it was a hard slog yesterday. I worked so hard yesterday. Man, it was the hardest day of work yet. And I thought that the day before, which was a Tuesday, was the hardest day yet. I mean, it was 2 days in a row of really hard work. But it was a good day. It was a good drudge. I felt productive and well engaged and enjoyed, per my values, the hashtag good use of time. When you hear me drop a hashtag in front of a word, hashtag good use of time, hashtag temperance, hashtag horror, whatever the case may be, I'm referring to a principle or an objective within the book. Yesterday was absolutely fantastic. It left me absolutely exhausted by the end of the day. My wife, Yumiko, was a little bit worried about me, I think, because she saw how tired I was, but I felt great. It was a great day yesterday. I want more days like that, but not today. Today I took the day off. Summer, you can sense, you can see if you look over my shoulder here, summer is in fast retreat, if not routed just yet. It's going to be gone. It's already gone in spirit, but it's going to be gone in fact by next week. It'll probably kind of make a comeback, but it's going to be gone. Already the river behind my house has this slate iron kind of a color. It looks, the river has taken on the same hue and temperature of this trivet that I used to, another antique listed in my store. All the things you see, all the interesting things you see around me are items available to buy in my store. You can buy this in my store. You can buy this Daruma figure in my store. You can buy this wind chime in my store. Well, no, not that. Maybe I should list it. You can buy the monkey, all this stuff. Anyway, the river looks like that. The sky looks like that tomorrow. Let's go to the river for a last swim before the summer's up. Wise woman, wise wife. So Yoko, my sister-in-law, is going to join us, and the three of us are going to go this morning. We're going to head up to the mountains. Yeah, so what if it's a little bit overcast? It's still warm. We're going to head up to a beautiful river spot at the village of the Long Bear and go for a swim. No work for me today, and I'm not going to ship anything either. I have a couple of orders, but I have very liberal, for me, shipping terms, 5 to 10 days. So I give myself, I've got some orders to ship. One of them, a regular viewer, if you see this, he knows. I reached out to him. I said, I can't ship your order until next week because it's the Borne holiday this week and the tea factory is closed. So I'll get your order next week as soon as I can go get you some fresh tea and get your order in the mail. Enough of that business talk, sorry. Enough of yesterday. Yesterday was an exceptionally good day. Hard work, good and healthy drudge, an exceptionally good use of time. Check, check, check. All right, so now let's go over the objectives of my creed. So as I mentioned before, and there's a lot of new subscribers to the channel, so you may not be aware of this. I mentioned earlier that I wrote a book called Retiring in Japan, which is the chronology and catalog and experience of retiring in Japan written down for the sake of anyone that's interested. You can buy that book on Amazon if you want. Or you can just ask me questions if you want. Lots of people do. This, though, is my life's work. This book called Going Alone is the result of it's my barbaric yelp. It's the thing that, besides the raising of my daughter, that I'm leaving behind as I prepare to go forever into the darkness of oblivion, right? This all leaves behind. This is my story. This is the story of the effort that I made to figure out what the hell this is all about and to catalog, to share the story and to catalog what values I had to construct of life after I gave up religion and realized that I had to figure things out for myself. There's a chapter in here titled The Good Life, and that is the chapter that contains my codified creed laid out in objectives. There are 8 objectives and 35 principles. The principles are the things that I refer to do on a day-to-day basis throughout the day to help align my days and my decisions to ensure that I'm delivering on the objectives. Every day at this time, I recite the 8 objectives aloud. All I need to do is say them one after another. That's all I require of myself. I don't have to go into any depth at all. Sometimes I do. Here, I'll go do it now. So the 8 objectives in the following order, and they are laid out in a particular order because they build one upon one another. This is all very carefully thought out over an 8-year period. It took me 3 years to write this book and 5 years to edit it until it's reached the point now that I haven't had to change a word for a couple of years now. You can read this one for free at goingalone.org. Look for the book. There's up at the top of the page, there's a book, and you can find all the chapters there. The 8 objectives are as follows, and they are ordered, like I said, not only in terms of relation, in terms of importance. The first and most important of my 8 objectives, if there's only one that I can fulfill, is the number 1, which is to be always ready to die. What that simply means is that I need to curate and cultivate my life into a situation and circumstance where if I keel over right now with a heart attack, I've left my affairs in good order, my relationships sound, and my life's work, if not complete, at least not in a disorganized state. Quite simple. Simple to say, a lot harder to do. Very hard to fulfill. It's hard to get to that state when you're young. It's a little easier when you get to be my age because you can actually have a chance to finish off your life's work, right? So I have to ask myself, have I met those 3 criteria? I'm going to give away, spoiler alert, it's always yes at this point. Once in a while I'll say no, but mostly it's always yes, which is a good thing. Saying yes to these 3, answering these 3 questions with a yes means that I fulfilled my main life objective. I'm ready to die. I can be at peace today. Peace. It's a worthwhile thing. Yeah, so Kurt, you said you get depressed, you get unhappy sometimes. Yeah, that's different from peace, right? I can be at peace that my life is in a it has met my objectives. It doesn't mean that I know what the hell to do with myself. They're two different things. So let's go over them first. Number one, to be able to say, to meet the objective of being ready to die, I have to, one, have my life's work complete. Well, my life's work is two things. One was successful parenthood. That means that I raised my daughter to adulthood in such a way that she can successfully sustain and manage herself in an adult manner. She can do adulting on her own without me anymore. Check. She's 24 going on 25 up in Tokyo, living her life, comes down to see us once a month, seems to be doing just fine. Check. Seems to be done. The second part of this is still part of the first criteria, is did I fulfill my life's work? In my other life's work was to write my story, and it's all done. Yeah, the book's done. So yeah, my life's work is complete. My daughter is raised. My book is writ. Done. Check one. Check two is, are my relationships sound? That simply means, is there anybody that I have any unfinished business with, or that I need to have words with to smooth things out? And there isn't. Just another spoiler alert, I have an ongoing issues with my mother, who doesn't like me very much. She doesn't like my brother either. But that's a different thing. That's like you can't fix what is outside the scope of hashtag limits, right? It's another principle from the book. I have to recognize where my limits are. I can't get inside my mother's head and make her like me, or make her, see me in a reasonable manner, because I don't think she sees me as I really am. Literally. And I'm very careful not to gossip in my life, or not to disparage, or to talk about people who can't defend themselves. But I think I will trespass just a little bit on that, and to give you an example that, how I can't change how my mother sees me. I got an email from her last night, explaining to me that I am Satan. So I don't agree. I mean, sure, some people tell me that sometimes because I'm not a Christian anymore, but I don't think she means it that way. I think she does mean it that way. Because I think, well, if you talk to my mom, she'd say it's because I'm no longer a Christian anymore. I've opened my heart to the devil, and I'm doing the devil's work. So yeah, she probably does see it that way. Anyway, hashtag limits. I can't control how other people, what worldview they impose upon me by virtue of the decisions that I've made, right? That's outside the scope of my control. I can't reach that. So how do I measure that? How do I meet the objective, the sub-objective, so to speak, of how can I fix my relationship with my mother with regard to that? Well, I can't. So, yeah, I don't have anything to fix there. I don't have anybody else that I have bad words with. The third part of being ready to die is to make sure my affairs are in order, so that if I die, that my wife isn't suddenly, because I'm the one that takes care of all the money in the life, at least the money from the United States. I got to make sure that the funnel of money keeps coming in for the rest of her life to support her in retirement, because her family lives forever. So, and my family tends to die. So it's most likely I'm going to go first. I'll probably be dead within 10 or 15 years. Yumiko's going to probably see herself into her 90s. So I have to make sure everything's in a situation where she's taken care of for the rest of her life. She knows how to access all the accounts. And my daughter can do the same to look after my wife. You get it, right? So are those three things complete? Is my life's work complete? Are my relationships sound? And are my affairs in order? Check, check, check. They certainly are, for a long, long time. Okay, so my main life objective is in good shape. I can die today, and without a single backwards glance. I can literally fall over right now onto the ground and not look back and say, but family, or, oh, I should have done something, or I wish I could talk to somebody. No, just go over and off I go to oblivion. All that for objective number one. Objective number two now, I'll go a little faster, is to make good and effective use of my time, like I said before, to not waste my days. That's one of the reasons I stand up so much. I don't like sitting down, because sitting down feels complicit. I know that's a loaded phrase. Number 3, the third objective is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That's why I started making these good life meditation videos 8 years ago. Was when after I wrote the book, I said, well, if I've to fulfill objective number 3, I should have some daily effort where I reflect on my values to tune them. And that's exactly why I do this. So making this video is fulfilling objective number 3. Objective number 4 is to um, cultivate good emotional reactions. I'm very good at that now. If I do flatter myself, this is my journal, I can flatter myself. Dear diary, I'm getting very good at managing my emotional reactions. It's really, really rare that anything can happen anymore that sets me off or gets pissed off or, pushes me over an edge. I've become kind of invulnerable to the daily stuff. Sure, I get tired, I get worn out, I get frustrated, but that stuff tends to get no further than about here. You can kind of feel the frustration kind of starts here in your gut, or at least in my gut, and it rises. And when I was younger, man, in my 30s and 20s, it would, wow, hashtag Feast of Offal. I don't do that anymore. It kind of gets about here and you say, okay, enough of that. Hashtag Temperance, hashtag, social principle, remove hashtag Feast of Offal. All principles from my book, remove myself from that situation until I can get back on control. That's come of long, long practice and the effort of codifying and writing my book. So that's objective number 4. Objective number 5 is to perform good actions relative to my creed, right? To deliver on the promise made to myself in writing this book. So that is simply living a life where I am seeking after the ends of virtue, where virtue is defined as doing things that help to improve the well-being of thinking creatures, the making of a world where there's more peace than pain. Like my little shelter boy right here. Creating a world where he can be at ease. But not just him, but my family, the people I interact with my life, the people that contact me, that write to me and stuff like that I spend a little time talking with, etc., etc. It's all part and parcel of that. Number 6, the 6th objective is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunity. Like I can reach just about there. And just about there. There's some limits live here and here too. And I work hard to recognize where those limits are so that I don't ask of myself more than I can actually fulfill. I don't instruct myself or expect myself to deliver results where no results can be delivered. And that takes some effort, but with enough practice, it becomes part and parcel of the normal way of doing things. I see it now actively throughout time, recognizing where the limits exist and where I do have control. It really does, reflecting on these things daily, really makes a difference. Number 7, the 7th objective is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, just as I'm doing right now. I'm speaking and I'm gesturing and I'm looking at you very carefully. And this is not natural. This is a contrived effort. I have cultivated this demeanor over many years, and it's become so natural now that it's probably become my true self. I chose not to be the frantic, frenetic, reactive, spontaneous in the worst sense man that I used to be. And I chose to become a more stoic and staid and self-controlled individual through the exercise of my own self-restraint and the practice of a deliberate manner. And so that's who I am now. And that was the effort in the fulfillment of objective number 7. Objective number 8 is not something that so much I have to do, but is a consequence of the first 7. I told you that these things build upon one another, beginning with readiness for death and finishing with number 8, which is balance. Balance is a state of both body and mind where I have good footing, where the winds and the events that happen throughout the day are going to be hard-pressed to knock me off my feet anymore. I can pretty much make it through every day now without making a scene, doing something that I regret, and boy, not working anymore has really helped that. But that's a dangerous thing too, because removing ourselves from the fray takes us off our edge, right? I mean, if we pull ourselves out of the mosh pit, we lose something in standing on the sidelines. I think you know what I mean. Okay, those are my 8 objectives. So all I have to do is talk about them, or at least number them and name them every day, and I've just done that with a little bit of elucidation on a few of them. Now, I want to cover one of the principles, and today I'm going to talk about a principle called arena and utility. It's near the end of the chapter, The Good Life. Arena and utility. Here it is. It's principle number 32, so it's near the end here. In the hardbound edition of Going Alone, it's page 272. Arena and utility. And so think about an arena, or I'll think about like a gladiatorial arena. And utility. Utility is the tools that we have in that arena. The arena being whatever setting and circumstance we find ourselves in. The utility being, excuse me while I take a drink. The tools being whatever values, principles, objectives, and whatever epistemology we bring to bear to manage our life. Let me read. Arena and utility. Every place and situation are an opportunity to practice and refine our objectives and principles. Ask yourself at every point through the day, what utility and good end might be found for the employment of your reason and philosophy, which must be forever alert, skeptical, and active. Life is the arena. Our objectives and principles are our utilities. Certainly one of the briefest of the principles that I have. Arena and utility reminds me to be ever ready and vigilant, to bring my various principles, which I kind of sometimes imagine hanging off an invisible belt like tools. Hashtag Temperance, hashtag Feast of Offal, hashtag Homunculus. Rip those things out through the day and apply them as I see fit, kind of like Neo in the what was that movie? Like the bullets are flying. I mean, that's literally how it goes down. All right, so now the last part I'm going to do here before I read comments, and I do read comments every day, but I save that until the end. Let's talk about the next 24 hours. It's not much to talk about. I decided to take the day off. Oh, the retired guy takes the day off, yeah. I was thinking about that this morning. In fact, the blog post that I already wrote this morning covered that, how strange it feels to call in on a Thursday, it's Thursday here in Japan, and say, I'm taking the day off because I have nobody to notify. There's no boss to tell, there's no coworkers, there's no HR to deduct a day from my debit, my days off. It really kind of highlights the fiction that this work is in terms of being truly able to call it work. It really is an occupy and a pastime that pretends to be work. It's a fiction of sorts. Hornets? Or a big bird? It's a big bird. That'd be a hell of a hornet. You get the idea. So I'm going to take the day off. I'll finish this. I'm going to wrap this up. I'll go up the street, do radio exercise with my neighbors. I'll come back. I even skipped that the last 2 days. I was too busy. And then I'll come back, and then we'll have breakfast. We'll walk the dogs, have breakfast. Then we'll head off to the river, and I'm going to have a fun day with my wife and my sister-in-law. I'm not going to think about work. I'm going to put on my swimsuit. I'm going to swim in the river. I'm going to enjoy being alive, enjoy being retired, and just have a good day. Usually I record the temperature and the humidity at the start of this video. I forgot to do so. It is currently 26 degrees, just above the green zone, and a beautiful 66% humidity. And if you take a look, you can see here, the temperature is just above the green, and the humidity is just above the green. True heaven. This is just, but you can, whoever came up with these colors here really got it right, because you can feel just a little more temperature, a little more humidity, and it's going to be cloying. But it's pretty damn good. Okay, with that all done, and Rudy seems to be getting up. Hey, little Rudy. Let's read comments. My favorite part of all this. Hello, Michael. Hello, Erica. Hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you, Erica. I appreciate that. I hope you do. I hope you did. I hope you do. Okayama Ray over there in Washington. Good morning to you. Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn. Hey, guys. Good to see you. Oh, by the way, if you're new, there's a lot of new subscribers. So if you're new watching this for the first time, we have a pretty regular group of people that chime in comments every day. So we're a familiar and friendly group. You're welcome to join us if you're new. Just leave a comment. If you leave a couple of comments over a couple of days, you'll become a regular too. And there's Tim chiming in with his own temperature and humidity report in the UK. Temps at 9:35 p.m., 22C and 71%. 22C and 71%. Damn, that's pretty nice. A little up there on the humidity side, but the temperature is good and falling, right? Because it's nighttime for you. That humidity peaked today at 37. You keep having these extraordinary days, Tim. I mean, that's really hot for the UK, isn't that? I mean, can you just imagine how Dr. Johnson would have felt, on such a day? My dear Boswell, today is simply astonishing in its temperature. I'm sure he would have something disparaging to say about the Scots, right? It's almost so hot that it's almost too hot for a Scotsman or something. says the Scotsman. My family is from Edinburgh. Ray says 25C and 60%. Ooh, you're in the golden zone there too. Back to normal summer temps. Yeah, for Washington State, pretty nice. Erica says 76 and 87 humidity. We've got the American, I know these, I've kind of switched over, Erica, in just to fit in to the Celsius crowd, but my heart exists for Fahrenheit. 76 is a beautiful temperature. I don't have to think about it. If I still want to think about Celsius, I'll have to kind of do some conversion. 76 is beautiful. 87 is a bit high in the temperature, in humidity, but nice temperature. Oh, and then Erica offers the conversion 24C there. That's nice of you to do. There's Robert. Hello. Robert said in his usual saying hi to everybody, very much the cosmopolitan man. Tim says hi to Robert. Robert chiming in with his temperature and humidity in Napanee, Ontario, Canada, 29 and 62. 29, a little bit hot, and pretty nice humidity. Erica says hi to Robert. Ray says, knowing what you do now, if you had the opportunity to get a second pension with only 5 more years over, fuck no, excuse me, doing a simple job you don't like, would you yield one? No, I would definitely not do that. And sorry, that's really, really rare to hear me say, but you touched a nerve there, Ray, and it's not a nerve of anger or frustration. It's a nerve of stark reality. I'm 61 now. You asked me, right? So I can't speak for anybody else. I'm just speaking for myself. And I think I mentioned earlier that the men in my family tend to all die in their 60s. It's pretty rare for us to get into our 70s. So I've got maybe 10 good summers left. Beginning about age 57, I began to decline very quickly, and I'm declining very quickly now. My mental capacity is on fast decline. My physical capabilities are on fast decline. So 5 more years, I got 10 good summers yet. So basically for me, because you asked it to me, would I, couching it in my own life, would I trade 5 of my good remaining 10 years for another $1,000? I imagine you're imagining another $1,000 a month in retirement. Hell no. I mean, I got plenty. I mean, literally, and I don't mean to brag, this is my journal. There's more money coming in into our retirement. We've already got more money than we need, and that's another thing we discovered in retirement is that we don't spend very much money. So we already got. I don't know. What would I know? I want time. But that's a funny thing, isn't it, for the guy that says he doesn't know what to do with his freedom, right? So, damn you. Now it's getting complicated. If I could be doing what I'm doing right now, exactly, working on my eBay store, yeah, I'd do it for that. But that would not be for the money. It would just be because I don't know what the hell else to do with myself. Evelyn says, you hated it. You hated it, but you were so good at it. I was really good at it. And I hated it. Yeah. So I guess it just goes to show that you can be good at what you hate. Ray says, that's one of the major decisions I need to make here soon. Cut current pay in half, but get a second pension before retirement, or just continue on this path. Well, you got your work cut out for you, figuring that out for you. Results vary, right? And good luck to you figuring that out. But I wouldn't, there's no way in my life now that I would trade money for time. Time is the most valuable. Tim says, I think I was very happy to take a cut in my working days income to retire if it meant giving up the stress and all that went with it. In my book, you can't buy your health and sanity. I'm right with you, Tim. Hallelujah, brother. Preach. Ray says, Kurt, do you sell any green tea from farmers you know? I'd be interested in some. To my Japan address, so don't need to worry about customs and packaging. Well, here's how it works. So the supplier that I use is one of the this is called, the place that I live is called the Valley of Tea. This is Yada, and they've been the big supplier here. They're farmers, but they also have a tea factory. So there's all kinds of farmers here. And then the farmers that in the valley here sell their tea to the Mochizuki family, which is where I get my tea. And they have this factory that they built in 1875, specifically to process the tea from the valley here to sell. So basically, they are the family that farm and process the tea for all the farmers here. That's the Mochizuki family. So all the tea that I sell in my store comes from this valley via the Mochizuki family farm. So yeah, it's from here, and I know the farmers, but I mean, it's not like I get the tea from the farmer just up the road. He sells his tea to the Mochizuki family, who process the tea, and then I buy it from them. So yeah, it is definitely from here. Just a second, as long as we're on the topic. Excuse me, and I can talk while I walk. It's the nice thing about having this microphone to do that. Let me get in here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, commercial time. So I currently sell three types of tea in my store, and all three of these tea are grown in this valley and are processed by the Mochizuki family. So the first tea that I sell are these packaged 15 tea bags. You can just dip it. Yeah, I started with these because you don't need to have a teapot. And then this is also tea bags. Okay, well, this is 20 bags. Well, why are there two? Well, this is actually a higher quality tea. And the thing is, this tea is really good hot or cold. This one is mainly recommended to be hot. So I sell both of those. They're both really good. And then this tea is proper. Oh my God, there's a hornet. Stand still, don't move anybody. It's right by my leg. As they do, they just move on. Japanese giant hornet flying around my legs as I'm selling tea from my balcony in Japan. This is 100 grams of sencha, and I think they can sell it to me bigger than that if I want. I ask for it. So this is what I drink, and then I sell all these in my store. So yeah, I can certainly ship it to Japan if you want. I mean, within Japan, I can also just give me, if you reach out to me, I'll just give you their contact information, and you can contact them and order direct from them. Cut out the middleman. I gotta go back. Oh boy, I missed a lot of comments. Okay, there we go. I think I've answered your question, Ray. Ray goes on, Tim, the hard choice. That's a hard choice. Different stresses, fear of the unknown with the politics, economic climate around the world. I felt the same way. I had all the same fears. Again, results vary, circumstances are different. I deliberately engineered a retirement into a very low cost way of life. You know, with this house is paid for, my property taxes are $15, or like, no, they're less than that. They're $9 a month. My health insurance is, for the two of us, is like $40 a month for everything. I engineered a life where there's very little expenses, right? If you don't have that kind of a life, then maybe it's worth it to spend another 5 years to get another 1,000K. Tim says, then maybe you're not ready yet to give up work, Tim. Yeah, maybe. Robert says, okay, I'm arrayed. I did observe that not having to go to work. Oh, by the way, if you know, Robert is retired too. I did observe that not having to go, so we got a bunch of retired people talking, not having to go to work lowered my expenses. Already having activities I find purpose, it hadn't helped. The money was more of a mindset issue than an actual one. I'm astonished at how little money. I go days and days and days without spending anything. I spend money now on my business, but nothing on me. Ray says, appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I'm just chiming in with what Robert said. Tim says, can understand that, Ray. Everyone has different fears. For me, I just looked at what retirement would be like for me personally, that I could afford it, and haven't looked back. Me too. I kind of remember the man I was, and I was afraid to retire for some of the concerns that Ray was mentioning. And I look back, and if I could talk to my old self and say, don't worry, just keep planning, Kurt, because that was the key. Was that the retirement that I planned is absolutely the retirement that came to fruition. It was all the hard work of figuring out what the expenses were, spreadsheets, figuring out everything came out to be true. You know, everything that I found. So do all the hard work to figure it out. Don't, like, you know, I don't think my brother's going to see this. He's retiring in 4 months, and he's not doing this. He's kind of just going to go for it. Now, he's in a different situation. He's going to retire with a great retirement. So I think he can get away with not planning because he's just going to be in such great shape. But it scares me that he's not planning it out. Sorry, it sounds like I'm gossiping twice in one video. Tim says, I try now to live in the present than to worry about what might happen, oh my gosh, in the future, as I feel life is literally getting shorter. It literally is. Right? At least if we measure it in object terms of years. Evelyn says, yeah, be careful what you wish for. I'm struggling with retirement too. Yep, join the crowd, join the club. You do appear to be fairly buff still, Kurt. Robert says, I work out every day. I have free weights, and I do this, and I do push-ups, and I walk, between 10,000 and 15,000 steps a day. So I stay very fit, but my muscle tone isn't there. No, I'm sorry if I'm flexing. I mean, I can do this. It's there, but it's not hard anymore, right? I mean, it's because I'm so active and working out every day. But I mean, when I was just 10 years ago, if I worked out as much as I could, I'd be rock hard. Not everywhere. You know what I mean? It's no. So it's like I'm trying to keep the body in shape, and it's like okay, it's in the back seat, right, Glenn? Yeah, we're just for the ride, Kurt. You keep that up. You know, keep that up for a couple more years, Kurt. We'll see. Where did I go? Enjoy the perfect weather over here while it lasts. Yeah, no kidding. We're raised in Washington. Over there. Oh, you mean over there? Over here? Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, weather is, right? Europe is getting it bad with heat at the moment, Tim says, which is being drawn up to the UK. We have drought orders kicking in now in some parts. Wow. Ray says, loved your reaction to the pension question. I know your disdain for your last job, but also have been here long enough to know the financial surprises along the way. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say it for like the fourth time. Results vary, right? I do. Please. This is why I don't talk about finances in my retirement book, in the Retiring in Japan, And I get invited onto these podcasts, and they ask me, you know, what can we talk about? What can we not talk about? And I always say, I don't want to talk about money. I don't want to talk about numbers because, you know, that's everybody's different. And it's not because I'm necessarily want to be private. It's because I want, I don't want anybody to model any of their decisions off of my decisions because their circumstance is different. Tim says, I found the age secret, Kurt, which is drinking olive oil. Really? So I started a month ago. A cup a day. Tastes awful. Really? Olive oil, huh? Olive oil. Okay, I'll give that a try, Tim. I appreciate that. By the way, just put a note in my head. If you've got Netflix, Tim, you might enjoy, and others. I'm watching a show, Mo. It's about a guy that's, you know, trying to, you know, secure his immigration status in the United States. Very interesting. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the human side of it. It's getting a little corny. I'm getting to the end where, you know, sometimes these Netflix series. I'm not a big watcher of Netflix series. I don't watch much TV, but I like to watch them with my wife. And my wife and I kind of turn to another. You get like a season and a half in. You're like, you know, this thing should have ended. I think they've reached that point with Mo, but it's a good drama, good acting. And he drinks, and his mother makes olive oil. So as soon as you said that, I was like, I wonder if I can get Mo's mother's olive oil. American Asian couple. Hey, it's the first time I've seen your name here. Welcome. It's good to see you in comments. How much you recommend us to have as retirees as a couple to live comfortably like you and your lovely wife in Japan? See, that's just the kind of thing that I avoid. It's funny that you asked that just after I said that I don't usually talk about money. What I would recommend instead of suggesting an amount is to do what I did, which is get out a spreadsheet. And I'm sorry if I'm not answering your question directly. I'm not trying to be obtuse or to be disrespectful and not answering your question. It's just that everybody's results are different, your circumstances are different, and where you live is going to make a big difference as well. Here's how I answered that question for myself. I got out a spreadsheet. I got on the internet, and I got out a spreadsheet, and I listed all of the criteria that I knew that I would need to spend, including household buying a house. When we first came to Japan, we rented a place for a while before we bought this house. And then I researched, I knew what area we wanted to live, which was here in Shizuoka. And I just researched it all, and I put all the numbers in. And then I went over and I created another section of the spreadsheet where I researched all the income that I'd have in retirement and all the savings that we had. And I just sat there and spreadsheeted away for a couple of months until I basically had a plan. And I said, okay, here's the goes outas, here's the goes intas. After my career stops, will I have enough money coming in to support my life that I want to live? And you know what? That turned out to be exactly right. I mean, everything was spot on because it was all the hard work. So rather than tell you how much it takes us to survive, I would just like to simply suggest that you do that work so that you have a really good map and model for yourself. And again, I'm sorry if I'm not answering directly. It's just kind of a policy of mine to not answer that question directly. I will tell you this, because I get it. I literally get it like every week. I got interviewed for a magazine article, and the editor or the writer that wrote to me is finishing the article up, and she wrote to me last week and said the same question. Can you give us? Because I told her no. She said, because I told her she wanted all the numbers, and I said no, for the same reason. And she said, well, can you at least give us a percentage? So I gave her a ballpark percentage. I would say that it was, you know, half to 2/3 the price to live in Japan as it was to live in Huntington Beach, California. And by the way, it's great to have you here. I'm happy to see you in comments. American Asian couple. From another American Asian couple myself. Good evening from Washington, D.C. Oh, you're in Washington, D.C. Neat. Arsenal Ream. I haven't seen your name either. Welcome. You should add Shugi Bukuro to your shop. I know Bukuro means bag. I don't know what Shugi is, though. Maybe if you'll elaborate, maybe I can look into it. I'm taking suggestions for the shop. And there's Robert, of course, saying hello to American Asian couple in Arsenal Rain. Ray says, you mentioned property taxes had to laugh. $5,000 a year here in the U.S., $60 for a house with $3 acres in Japan. Yeah, it's like astonishing. I mean, I can pay my friggin' property taxes by foregoing a couple of cups of coffee every month. Tim says, thanks, Kurt. We'll check Netflix out. Apparently, extra virgin olive oil is really good stuff for the body. Why people in the Mediterranean have it in their diet, live a long life. Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try some. You said, did you say a cup? Did you say a cup? That's a lot. I would love to watch my wife's face as she sees me downing a cup full of olive oil. I want to go back and read that to make sure I understand. I'll forget anyway. I'll just take some olive oil. Oh, Tim says I take 2 large tablespoons of olive oil, about a sake cup first thing each. Ah, okay. Thanks, Tim. That's a helpful measure. So maybe what I'll do is, I've got some sake cups that I haven't listed yet. Maybe I'll grab one for my own use and compile a thing of olive oil every morning. Not not a cupful, right? That'd be too much. I take 2 teaspoons, and Evelyn says I take 2 teaspoons of Greek olive oil a day. Well, look at us. Let's call this the olive oil club. I'm going to do the same. Twin lamps. Hey, twin lamps. Twin lamps. If you guys don't know, some of you go way back. You know, up until twin lamps arrived, I would say probably Robert is the person that's been with me the longest. I mean, Robert, how long have you and I known each other? How many? Measured in decades. And twin lamps, I think you're right up there too. Twin lamps is someone I know from comments from my softypapa 1.0 days. I mean, at least as long as Robert. It's good to see you, twin lamps. Good morning, Kurt and all. And Evelyn, another longtime friend of the channel, but from the softypapa 2.0, well, from the America days, says I actually helped my family harvest olives in Lesbos, Greece. My favorite thing to do in the world. Is that the island? Is that the same as Lesbos? Is the term Lesbos? Because I know that's an island, right? Is that the same as Lesbos? Is Lesbos? Wow, that's amazing that you do that. I mean, I know, Evelyn, you've told me in the past that you've been tempted to maybe go back to Greece. Would you ever consider that? Robert says hi to twin lamps. Penguin. Tim says it doesn't taste nice to begin with, but you get used to it. Down some green tea afterwards. Sounds great. I'm going to go downstairs before Yumiko wakes up and do that. Now, I've done it, guys. I've 67 minutes in, almost 68 minutes in. I've missed morning exercise. It's already happened, come and gone, but it was worthwhile for this extra time. Again, welcome to so many new subscribers to the channel. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. American Asian couple as well. You're new to the channel. First time I've seen you. And Arsenal Rain, it's good to see you as well in comments. At least American Asian couple, you're new to the comments. And then Aaron Howard says, and Aaron Howard knew. Hi there, Aaron Howard. Hi, Kurt. Did you have any traveler's insurance before transitioning to the Japanese national plan? No. So how did that work? So the way that worked was, my last day of work was my last day of work in the United States was the 6th day of December 2024, and I don't think my insurance lapsed until like sometime in January, and I came to Japan on the 23rd of December, so I was still covered by my former provider. Now, and then like the day after I got here, I signed up for the national plan here. Mimiko and I went down and did everything. So I probably had about 12 hours of vulnerability in Japan where I had no coverage, right? So I just winged it. Took a risk. All right, everybody. I think I reached the end of the meditation for today. Thanks for joining me on this wonderful day. I'm going to go to the river and go for a swim with my wife now, and I'm not going to think about work. Thank you, Tim, who's wishing me well as I take a day off. I appreciate that. And Robert, always believe in yourself, always very nice, saying hi to all the people in comments. Robert, I think I need to make you into it. Although my videos don't need moderation, but I ought to make you a moderator because you kind of play that role. And being welcoming to everybody, and I really do appreciate it. It's part and parcel of your wonderful personality, Robert. I appreciate that. I'm so lucky to have so many great people here. Thanks, and ciao, ciao, Evelyn. Take care. Be safe, but not too safe, everybody. Bye-bye.